you're okay. You're not behind, and it's okay. Like, these are just some basics that might be good to know. And if you don't know them, that's okay. I'm still figuring this out. At the time of posting this, I'm 24. Still no idea what I'm doing. No one knows what they're doing. Everyone's figuring it out. Here's some basics. Here's something to get you started with something. Number one, you should know how to build a fire. That's something that might be good to know. Not because you need it for any practical purposes, but because it's a bit of a lost art. Everyone goes and gets big sticks and logs and tries to light them ablaze. Obviously, that doesn't work. You gotta start with little twigs. You got to start with the little tiny dry stuff and dry leaves if you have it. You'll learn things about other things by learning to start a fire, such as patience and frustration. And things don't actually need to be perfect. I'm going to start with the small things, and maybe I'll get a little bit of energy from that, you know? Okay. Number two, you should know how and why to do the dishes. I know you know how to do the dishes. If you don't know how to do the dishes, I'm sorry. I will not be showing you that in this video. What I am more interested in is why. What is very helpful to understand is the psychic influence of doing the dishes. See also doing the laundry, making dinner for yourself, folding said laundry, and making your bed. These are things that we can do to act like we're in control, or to convince our body that we're going through the motions, that we are trying to take care of ourselves, and that counts for something. When you're feeling the mental turmoil, the mess upstairs, you start with the physical gunk that's in the sink. Always start with the dishes. That's number two. Number three, you should know how to shield yourself from advertising. Really, any external narrative that doesn't serve you. You're hit with more information nowadays than any other generation of humans. And if you're going to get anywhere, you need to be able to put the horse blinders on and say, this is not relevant for me right now. I can look at the billboard of the popular fast food restaurant, but I don't need to take that narrative in. I don't need to be influenced by it. I can observe it with a certain level of detachment, and then I can carry on about my way. That's a skill set. It's going to take some practice. All it takes is intentionality and awareness. You just need to be aware of the narratives that are bombarding you and saying, this is not coming from me. I didn't choose this. I'm hit with the information. I don't need to take it in. I can continue looking at what I actually want to look at. See also starting a fire, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, whatever is right in front of you, or like going to work, or whatever the task or the mission is. You can keep your attention on that without letting the negative or external narrative in. Okay. Number four, you should know how to take ownership of everything possible. No one's coming to save you. You're in charge of yourself. There's an immense freedom that comes from that. There's also a lot of fear and anxiety because it's like, whoa, I'm responsible for myself, for my physical well-being, for my financial well-being, for just existing in the world. And let's just sit with that for a second. That's a little bit uncomfortable. But the cool thing is you have the control, and there is liberation in ownership, right? You own this vehicle. You decide what comes into it and what you do with it. Like, that's great. And so you just start with the small things, understand that you take ownership of it. Your responsibility is great. It is freeing. And eventually you'll be able to do that for other people, and you'll be a leader and a cornerstone of the community and all the good things. Number five, you should know how to do your taxes. I don't really know how to do this. This video is brought to you by TurboTax. No, it's not. It's not. It's really not. But like, that would be good to know. That's okay. Number six, you should know how to listen to people. Again, pretty hard to teach. I think it comes down to caring. Recognize that you can make a conscious decision to care about someone else. And that just by doing that, you might actually free yourself from all of your self-directed anxieties, right? There's a certain level of self-centeredness that we have about ourselves. We're worried about our problems and our goals and our ambitions and our dreams. And we get really anxious when we're not moving towards them. All we have to do is care about someone else and give service to someone else to immediately be separated from that. And you just do that by listening. You just look at someone else. You look at them in their face, and you accept that they also have ambitions and dreams that maybe are interesting and just as worthwhile and valuable as your own. And you just kind of look at them and you nod your head, not to just show them that you're listening, but because you actually care, because you made the conscious decision to care. This is a human skill. We lose it in today's day and age where everyone is worried about their own individual pursuits. Choose to care. Choose to care. If you can do this, you will be in the 1%. Right? So if you are motivated purely by your own success, understand that it's a rare 1% skill set to listen and care about someone else, and that you practice it. It's like any other skill set, and it's a little bit difficult. It takes some patience and repetition, like everything else we talk about. So just choose to care. That's a great start. You should know how to do that. And it's okay if you don't. Just recognize that it's important and try. That's it. Where are we? Number 8, number 7, you should know how to feed your body. should know how to feed your body. This means listening to what your body actually needs. It's not eating for pleasure or eating to self-soothe yourself from the discomforts of modern life, which are numerous and sometimes all-consuming. You should be able to say, oh, okay, I need some energy right now. I'm going to eat something that makes me feel good when I'm done eating it. Eating for satisfaction rather than pleasure. Again, this comes down to awareness and intention. Am I actually listening to myself right now? Am I listening to myself and not, again, the fast food billboard that's right outside my window or on the internet somewhere? Don't listen to the billboard, listen to yourself. Great. Number 8, you should know how to move your body. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't need to be a fitness model. You do need to move your body. It is absolutely essential. Now, you might have certain difficulties moving your body. Maybe they're environmental. Maybe you're not surrounded by people who do engage in some type of physical practice. That's okay. You're going to work within your limitations and you're just going to do your best. You're going to go through the motions of trying. Move your body. This can be going for a walk. This can be stretching when you wake up in the morning. This can be starting with 5 push-ups. We talk about this all the time, but it's important to go back to the basics because these are the things that are within your control and they make a huge difference. Do not doubt that. When all feels lost, when you feel like you're drowning, being able to feed your body intuitively and move your body intuitively is the life preserver that you will always be able to come back to. Also, you should probably know how to swim. Number 9, you should know how to rest your body. Okay, it's not all go, go, go. You should be able to sleep. Sleeping involves laying down, closing your eyes, and breathing, and understanding that if you can't sleep, just doing that, just closing your eyes and breathing is just about as good, or it's at least what's within your control. You should make an effort of trying to rest. I used to have all this horrible sleep anxiety when I was a kid. I was worried about not being able to go to sleep. What I realized is that I didn't actually have insomnia. I had this weird internal pressure to sleep, and I was worried that if I didn't get sleep, I wasn't going to be okay at school the next day. So I would wake my parents up saying, hey, I can't sleep, so that they would be in the trenches with me. And then they would try to get me to go to sleep. And I felt this weird pressure from them, go to sleep, because we can't actually go back to bed until you go to sleep. And so eventually you go through that enough and then you stop caring and realize that if you could just lay there with your eyes closed, breathing rhythmically, it's actually meditation. And that's another thing you should know. You should know how to meditate. So if you can't sleep, just close your eyes and breathe, and that's just about as good. What you'll find more often than not is that you will go to sleep. Number 10, you should know how to talk to your parents as time goes on. They're going to get older. You're going to get older. The relationship is going to change. This is normal. You are no longer a child. You shouldn't be a child. You should be able to talk to them closer to that of a peer, which means understanding that they're imperfect people and that they've probably, it doesn't go for everyone, probably been doing their best. And you should be really grateful for that. You should be able to look within yourself and identify the things that they taught you that are really meaningful, really valuable, that you like about yourself, and that they came from them, that you learned things from them, that even the things they didn't do right are assets, that they're opportunities for growth in your own process. You should be grateful for that. You should talk about these things with them as openly as you can. Going back to number 6, you should be able to listen, which means listening to them, even if you don't agree with everything. You're not going to agree with everything, and that's good because you're individuals. They are different from you, you are different from them. It's a good thing to be different, to have different beliefs. Listen to them, nod, acknowledge, share your own beliefs, agree to disagree, all the things. You should do this with everyone, but particularly with your parents. Number 11. Excuse me. Out of water. You should know how to hydrate, and that you should. Number 11, you should know how to trust your gut. You might have an autoimmune disease. Listen to the signals of your body. If you find yourself having chronic diarrhea for a year, you probably have an illness, or you at least need to get it checked out. If you find yourself embarrassed of said symptom and you don't get it checked out, you might end up in the hospital after being diagnosed with a lifelong autoimmune disorder known as Crohn's disease. Let your people know what's going on. Don't be embarrassed. Humans are physical beings. We're all going through this. Obviously, healthcare is a whole thing, but this goes back to ownership. Pay attention to what's going on in your body. Trust when things are going wrong. Trust that your body has an intelligence about it that goes way deeper than your conscious ego self. Your body knows things that you don't. And so you have to work as a team because you are one holistic being. And, but just listen and just be in the conversation with it. Be present. Trust your gut. Trust your gut when good things happen. Oftentimes you know more than you realize, and you might not actually be as lost as you think. You might actually know a few things. You might be able to trust yourself. The ability to trust yourself is very freeing, provided you're taking ownership of your situation. Okay, how are we feeling? Number 12, you should know you can't run from your problems. You are not going to make a negative situation change by switching up your geography. You cannot run away from the level you're at. If you're not taking responsibility for your situation, if you have a skill deficit, you're not going to be able to just magically change that by switching things up. You're going to have to face the dragon that you're up against in that moment. If you're not doing your homework, you can't make that problem go away unless you learn to do your homework by breaking it down into small steps, getting support when you need it, just putting yourself in the resistance itself and developing, like acclimating to it and then going through it. You can't run from your problems. They live in your intestines, or at least in my case, they do. Number 13, you should know how to turn your anxiety into art. Everything about your human experience is worth sharing because, well, maybe not everything, but a good chunk of it. And the things that are uniquely painful for you oftentimes can be turned into art because we're sharing this experience together. And you'd be surprised at how much of your inner problems are shared by lots of other people. I mean, that's what this is, right? Like, you just share your anxiety with the world. Start by writing it out in a journal. I'm not saying share all of your journal entries. You should start by just having a personal creative practice. Just do that. Just do that. See if you get a sense of catharsis from it. And then if you do, notice the things that are worth having a conversation with someone else. And then just have a conversation with one other person. And then when you find that resonates with people, you might see, oh, wow, we actually have a lot more in common. What if I was to scale this conversation? Maybe you can turn that into a form of art. And it doesn't need to be through words. You don't need to be clear. You don't need to be even that honest. Well, you need to be honest. You'll find that you can actually express yourself pretty effectively through nonverbal means. And that if you resonate with that kind of expression, whether it's music or visual art or dance or some other performance media, like whatever it is, get it out. Get it out. That is meaningful work. That's a meaningful goal that you can direct your attention to systematically block the advertising and the other non-meaningful narratives. It gives you something good to look at. I'm going to channel my expression out. Right? I'm going to get it out of my physical self, and I'm going to share that with the world and hopefully help someone else. That's a really good goal. Or if you're not there yet, just keep doing the dishes. Build a fire. Go outside for a walk. Listen to someone else. Right? We have a good running list here. Okay? You should know how to talk to children. You're just going to say yes to all of the things that they're excited about. They're going to invite you into their world. You're just going to say yes and you're going to roll with it. And you're going to give them the enthusiasm that they bring to the table, which is their tactical advantage. So meet them where they're at and say, yeah, that's awesome. Give them your enthusiasm. And then also just talk to them like a regular person. They don't want to be condescended to. They don't want to be treated like a child. So just talk to them like a real person. You're just going to bounce off of them. It's really helpful to be able to do this because most people don't know how to talk to kids. Just have some fun with them. Just loosen up. It's okay. This is an opportunity for you to be like a kid again and lean into your imagination. Be grateful that they're inviting you into their world and that their nature is just open and friendly and good. And that's why people like kids. And that's why you should listen to them. Number 15. You should know how to ask for help and accept that you need it in the first place. You are not a perfect being, and there is a great freedom in being able to say, hi, I need help with this. I'm actually not doing good. When you are able to say to someone, particularly someone who is a role model or particularly someone who is a role model or who can help you, when you are able to say to them, I'm struggling with this thing and I need help with this, there is a weight lifted off of your chest. You should know how to do that. You should be willing to do that. Excuse me. You should be willing to do that. And accept that you need it, right? I mean, all of us would like to be perfect, right? We would like to have all of this figured out and not need help and to be the one that other people turn to, which you can. But just can we loosen up, please? Can we loosen up and understand that it's okay to need help and that you need someone to hold your hand sometimes and that you were never meant to do this alone. Yes, you need to take ownership of yourself. Yes, you're responsible for you and your situation and potentially people outside yourself. But let's help each other out, right? That involves saying, hey, I need help with this. I'm struggling with this. It's better if you can articulate where the struggle is coming from, but don't be afraid to ask for help on that front as well. You might need someone else's insight. You have resources around you. It's your responsibility to take ownership of those resources and to ask for help. Number 16, you should know that life will be empty until you find a meaningful game and play it. Number 17, you should know how to be patient. It's going to take a long time. Also, I'm not great at this either. Huge skill deficit. It's something that probably takes all of your 20s to develop, and maybe more. I mean, point me to one 24-year-old who's patient. I think by definition, you can't be patient at 24 because you haven't been alive for that long. So it just doesn't exist. But maybe we'll get there. We're allowed to recognize that that's a value worth cultivating. Now is the time to practice it. People say play in decades. I truly don't know how to do that, but that's because I've only had 2.5 of them. Number 18, you should know what the word collectivism means. We've grown up in an individualistic society. I think that there's a lot of strengths to that. There's a lot of advantages. We're going to be faced with some serious challenges within our lifetime, things that are out of control. We didn't start the fire. You didn't put the fast food billboard there. We're going to need to learn a different way of relating to the world and organizing ourselves as humans. So just look the word up. Number 19, you should know how to talk good. This comes back to listening. Just listen to other people and then speak the truth. Say the things that are true. Say things that have happened. Look at the world around you and describe it. The more you do this, the better you'll get. Okay, that's it. Every time you talk, you're just painting a picture of what you see and hear around you. You are an antenna. And it's not your job to be flowery, to be poetic with your speech. That's something that comes with time, and it really just goes back to truth. I mean, the most poetic, the most beautiful language is stuff that just best encapsulates the truth. And so do that by talking and talking with other people, and then listening. There's not a single good speaker in the world who isn't also a good listener. I would bank a lot on that. But again, haven't been around forever. So just, practice talking. Be in conversations with people. Write out your thoughts. Words are a really powerful tool. And if you're watching this video, you are compelled by them. So just respect that. Learn to use it as a tool. It's really valuable. Number 20, you should know that there will be enemies along the way. This is not going to be easy. There are going to be adversaries, both malicious adversaries that are kind of out to get you. These will come in the form of individuals as well as institutions, as well as environmental adversaries, things that are objective and don't have human intentions. They just exist. Things like huge storms that wipe out swaths of civilization and actively are just huge threats to our general life and well-being. They're going to happen. That's a part of our life. That's why we connect with stories and the idea of going up against a dragon or an adversary. We have to just kind of accept that and, again, ownership, responsibility, right? It's your job to stand up and be brave a little bit, and not that it's going to be easy. But whenever you feel incapable of that, just start with the dishes. Start the laundry. Make your bed. Eat tuna fish out of the can. Smear some Nutella on some saltines and put that in your face and chew slowly and pay attention to the sensations and put your horse blinders back on and don't listen to the advertising and ignore the billboard and write your thoughts on a piece of paper and then share that with someone else. You have tools. There will be adversaries, but you are not helpless. Do not accept that you are. You are not. You are in control. Number 21, you should know that there are powerful forces up against you. This is not just the same thing. This is just zooming in on the institutions part. There are big, powerful forces that want to reduce you to advertising dollars, that want you to be a helpless consumer, that want you to live in a constant state of desire and fear. And I promise you that you're more than that. I promise you that you are. And deep down, you know you are. And that's why you're watching this right now, is because you know that you are. You are more than a consumer. You are more than a fearful victim of your circumstances. You are in control, and you are capable of realizing something incredible. We can sit around and hold hands and say kumbaya, and you were here for a reason, and we can believe it. I mean, it goes back to the basics. But what do you want? Do you want to have a meaningful life? I think that probably you do. And that is your antidote against all the forces that want to minimize you to nothing but advertising dollars and consumerism. Your ability, your willingness to stand up to those adversarial forces is heroic in whatever small dose you can manage right now, just by taking care of yourself. Number 22, you should know that perfection is futile. That's why there's only 23 items in this list. It's like you're not going to get the perfect number. You're not going to get the perfect result. And that's really painful, and you are allowed to mourn that fact. Number 23, the only way out of a burning building is together. We did not start the fire. We did not choose this. We didn't put the billboard there. We didn't build the institutions that currently keep us trapped, right? That wasn't us. That wasn't our call. We were born into it. And we can hear the fire alarm, so to speak. Bear with me here. We can hear it. And as much as we want to bury ourselves inside of our comfortable apartments within this burning building and isolate ourselves in individualism and pleasure-seeking and even ambition and pursuing our wildest dreams at the expense of everyone else, the fire alarm is going off. And eventually, it's going to get so loud that you are going to step out into the hallway and see that the building is, in fact, on fire, whether you chose to believe that back then or whether you're doing it now with the flames in your face. And you're going to step into the fire escape and you're going to see everyone else coming down. And you're going to realize in that moment that the only way out of this burning building is together. We are going to flock out together. We are going to move together. We are going to understand the definition of collectivism and responsibility and ownership, and we're going to carry people down if we need to, because the building is on fire and we are moving as one unit. And in that mass exodus out of the building, for just a moment, we might lose ourselves a little bit, and there might be a certain freedom from all of the individualistic anxiety, from all of the thoughts of, oh, I'm not enough, and I'm not going to achieve my dreams, and I'm not going to get what I want out of this life. We'll finally be free of that, because we'll be carrying someone else, and we'll be part of a large organism that is bigger than us. And eventually, we will make it out of the building, and we'll be standing in front of this building wondering what we're going to do next, because it's on fire and this is where we lived, and what are we going to do now that everything we knew was true is burning down? We're going to stand there together in the scorching heat of a fire we did not start as we build ourselves a new home from the black and charred remains of a billboard that once read, "Have it your way."